Okay, so you sent us this article, AI will automate the robots, not the humans. It's by William L. Weaver, dated April 25, 2025. And apparently it was developed like in conversation with a Google Gemini assistant. Interesting.
Yeah, it's an intriguing starting point. So today, we're doing our deep dive into this specific piece.
Right.
Our mission really is to unpack its core argument. We'll look at how it connects a historical perspective to a very modern challenge, see where AI fits into the picture, and maybe touch on what it suggests about the nature of work itself.
Sounds good. Let's jump in. So it kicks off with Henry Ford, right? The
Right.
assembly line. We all sort of know that story revolutionized manufacturing, cars rolling off the line like never before.
Exactly. But the article zeroes in on something maybe less obvious, this idea that Ford's his real dream might have been full automation, a factory with no humans.
But he couldn't build it back then. The tech wasn't ready.
Precisely. Early 1900s, the technology for that kind of complex automation, it just didn't exist.
Okay, so his workaround, well, the article frames it as paying humans to basically be the robots he lacked.
That's the core of it. You have people standing there doing the exact same tiny repetitive action, inserting that screw, tightening that bolt for 8 hours a day, every single day.
Yeah, the source calls it profoundly dehumanizing, which makes sense. It kind of strips away any creativity, any need to adapt or problem solve on the job.
And that intense monotony, that's why you saw the push for better conditions, right?
Mm.
Higher wages, weekends off. The article suggests these weren't just demands for fairness, but almost necessary incentives, things needed to make humans tolerate acting like, well, biological machines.
Right, to keep them functioning in a role they weren't really built for.
Which leads to another key point the article brings up. Humans are actually amazing problem solvers, we're adaptable, but we make pretty lousy long-term robots.
Because we get bored, fatigued.
Yeah, boredom, fatigue, that natural human desire for, a bit of variation. When the job demands only perfect, mindless repetition, those human traits actually lead to errors. We're just not wired for it long term.
Okay, so that's the historical setup. Then the article makes this jump to today, to knowledge work, specifically academia.
It does. It draws a parallel with the challenges universities are facing now with Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA.
Okay, remind us what Title II is about.
Sure. It's a really important civil rights law here in the U.S. It requires public entities, which includes most universities, to provide effective communication and equal access for people with disabilities. Absolutely crucial goals, very necessary.
Noble goals, definitely. But the article argues the implementation is creating a new kind of repetitive work.
That's the connection it makes, especially for all the digital stuff, online course materials, websites, videos. Making all that accessible creates this huge volume of new, very specific rule-based tasks for faculty. And there's apparently a deadline looming, April 24, 2026.
And what kind of tasks are we talking about? It gets specific, right?
Very specific. It mentions meeting standards like the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines WCAG 2.1 Level AA.
Which means?
Practically speaking, things like needing absolutely 100% accurate closed captions on all videos.
Okay, vital for deaf or hard of hearing students.
Essential. And also 100% accurate descriptive transcripts for audio and video content, making sure every single image has good alternative text or alt text so screen readers can describe it for someone with a visual impairment.
Right.
And even formatting documents, Word docs, PDFs, PowerPoint, so they have the proper structure for screen readers to navigate them logically. It's meticulous stuff.
So connecting this back to Ford, the article's point is that these tasks, while aiming for a really important outcome, accessibility.
Right. The goal is laudable.
The process risks turning these highly educated people, experts in teaching and research design, into, what does it call them? Data processing robots.
Exactly. Because these tasks demand absolute precision, strict adherence to rules. There's very little, if any, room for creativity or, innovative approaches in the task itself.
You just have to follow the checklist perfectly.
Precisely. It's asking the human brain, which excels at synthesis, creativity, asking big questions, to perform the functions of a machine, tireless, consistent, rule-following.
The very thing Ford needed humans for because the machines weren't available.
That's the crux of the argument. That was then.
But now, the machines are here. That's the article's big pivot, isn't it?
That's the central thesis. Today we do have the technology, AI assistants, AI agents. These are presented as the tools capable of doing this kind of automation, but in this modern knowledge work context.
And why is AI suited for this?
Well, think about the tasks. Generating accurate transcriptions and captions, AI is getting incredibly good at that.
Mm.
Analyzing images or video to create descriptive text, AI can do that. Parsing documents to check against accessibility standards, that's exactly the kind of rule-based, data-heavy lifting AI excels at. Tirelessly, consistently.
Okay, so let's refine the core argument then. It's not saying AI is coming for the human part of the job.
No, not at all. The article is careful to distinguish. It's not about replacing educators in their core roles, designing learning, mentoring students, doing research, asking new questions, being creative.
Those uniquely human things.
Exactly. It's arguing that AI is poised to take over the robotic tasks. The stuff humans were only doing because we had to, because the right tools didn't exist before.
So AI automates the robot tasks we were forced into, not the human work.
You got it. It replaces the robot jobs that, frankly, humans were never a great fit for anyway. We were just the only option.
So in a way, AI is fulfilling Ford's original automation vision, maybe. But instead of just freeing up factory workers, it's freeing up knowledge workers.
That's the idea presented. It's not necessarily about freeing people from work, but freeing them from the kind of work that is, well, soul-crushing or at least mind-numbing, work that stifles the uniquely human contributions.
And the benefit is liberation. More time and brain power for the important stuff.
That's the hope. Automating these compliance tasks, for instance, could free up faculty from hours of tedious manual work. Let them redirect that mental energy back towards teaching, research, student interaction, the things only they can do.
Focusing human potential where it actually shines.
Exactly. Letting humans do human work.
I like the little humorous note at the end you mentioned about hoping the AI robots don't unionize for weekends off.
Yeah, it's a light touch, but it kind of underscores the point, right? These tasks were previously done by humans who absolutely did need weekends and breaks because the work itself could be so draining.
Right. Okay, so summing up this deep dive, the main takeaway from the article seems to be that AI isn't the job killer for human work, but potentially the liberator from robot work.
That's a good way to put it. It's about automating those repetitive, rule-based tasks that humans were doing out of necessity, which could, potentially, allow us to focus more on the creative, strategic, interpersonal parts of our jobs, the parts that are, fundamentally human.
So here's something for you, the listener, to chew on based on this. Think about your own work, or even just tasks in your life. Which ones feel like those robot tasks the article talks about? The ones that are repetitive need precision, but don't really require your unique creativity or insight.
Interesting question to ponder.
And then think, how might technology like AI change that? Could it free you up, like the article suggests, to focus more on the parts of your work or life that feel genuinely human? What really stands out to you from this whole idea?